Yo, what is going on YouTube? I am Germ here, and you guys knew this video was coming. Call it whatever you want. Call them Vitality. Vitality is finished. I don't know, kind of the reverse miracle run, whatever, but we needed to talk about this, the biggest story of the weekend. We came into this LEC weekend knowing that there was going to be some LEC drama, some craziness, some playoff races coming all the way down to the wire, but really coming into the weekend, it was who's going to make the playoffs. Fnatic, Astralis, or Excel. Which of those three? There was like an outside shot for SK, and SK honestly made it kind of interesting there for a while. But it was like between those three teams, who's going to get the 6th seed? We knew the top 5 teams were pretty much locked in. But Vitality decided to flip the script on us. They decided to flip everything up on their head. I do believe people are now saying that coming into this weekend, Vitality had a 96% chance to make the playoffs. Which is obviously just absolutely absurd. This is absolutely crazy. And, yeah, you know, I guess the 4% comes up sometimes because, Vitality is not in the playoffs. Spoiler alert if you guys have not heard yet or if you guys have not seen. But here is the LEC bracket. And the LEC bracket gets a little bit weird. We have G2 and Misfits, we have Rogue and Mad, and then we have Fnatic and Excel in the lower bracket. G2 got to pick who they wanted to play between Misfits, Rogue, and Mad Lions. They've decided to go with Misfits. And what's weird here, G2 has already locked Worlds. They can't finish lower than 4th. And if G2 beats Misfits, then Rogue and Mad Lions will both also lock World. So if Misfits beats G2, things start to get a little bit crazy. But if G2 beats Misfits, like I think many of us expect they're going to, we know 3 of the the 4 teams going to Worlds. We're gonna see what's going on there. But so obviously, this is the playoff bracket with no Vitality in it, which is absolutely crazy. I know so many people are retweeting Vitality's old tweets of, hey, the LEC super team is here. We finally formed a crazy roster. People are talking about all the different millions that they spent to get perks, all the millions that they spent for this entire roster. I mean, a lot of these guys weren't cheap. Carzzy was a back-to-back LEC champion, MSI semi-finalist. He got out of groups at Worlds last year. Alphari, obviously coming over from Team Liquid, had to be bought out of his contract, I believe. Perkz was bought out of his contract. You know, they had acquired Self-Made previously. Obviously, Haru coming in wasn't expensive or, minimally an amount spent there. But, yeah, I mean, pretty crazy. And this team has had such a weird road, so many ups and downs. There's so many memes. Obviously, Self-Made was the problem, is the one I've been rolling with all year because this team blamed so many of their mid to late game mistakes on Self-Made. I mean, that was what we heard coming into the split. It's like, hey, this team felt like Self-Made was not on the same page as them in the mid to late game, so that's why they couldn't close out leads despite the victories that they had. Yet, look at the past 2 or 3 weeks. That's exactly what Vitality has done. They have had good early games. They have gotten leads, and they have not been able to close them out. So, maybe somebody else needs to be taking some responsibility. Maybe their shot caller, maybe a big voice on this team. Maybe that's Perkz. Maybe that's a little bit of everybody for playing poorly. Maybe it's the coaching staff that really has obviously been having some big issues. We take a look at what Vitality was doing this weekend, or even the last couple of weeks. I mean, you can see here, after this day where they beat BDS, I mean, really, they had a nice stretch where they beat Misfits, they beat Excel, they beat G2, they beat BDS, and at this time, I was saying I really thought Vitality might have been the best team in the LEC. Obviously, there was a case for Mad Lions at this time, but those 2 teams are really good. G2 was down low. G2 was maybe not even going to make the playoffs at that time, and then Vitality just went on an absolute cold run. They lost to Astralis, they lost to SK, lost to Fnatic, lost to Rogue, lost to Excel, 0-5, and they're gone. They're going home. Europe has 4 seeds that make Worlds. This was, if you had a super team, and like Fnatic and Vitality both tried to form, if there's ever a year to not make it to Worlds, this is one of the worst to do it because, one, there aren't a ton of like dominant or super high level teams in the LEC right now. I think a lot of the teams are good, not great. I think there's a lot of really good players in Europe right now that are spread out across all of these teams. There's like 7 or 8 teams in the LEC with some really good players right now. But if you look at every team, you can point out at least like 1 or 2 big glaring flaws or 1 or 2 big glaring holes, whether it's positions or whatever, and obviously Vitality definitely has that, but I mean, this game here, they had a big lead against SK. SK kind of pulls out this, weird cheesy comp and is able to pull one out with the Yasuo 80 carry and stuff. Treats has a banger game on the Rakan. In this Fnatic game, they definitely had chances to win this one. Even at the end, they kill the Zeri in their base and Popper GA, and then Carzzy misses the Senna stun, like mistimes it on the GA, and that's just, that's an unforced error. That's a really simple, silly mistake. There was also the Dragon fight. I think it was after the Dragon was taken, where Perkz decided to go in on the Zeri and he just explodes. He gets one shot. There's also questions of why the Zeri was even getting through in the first place. Obviously, Upset played out of his mind going 14-1. So then, the next game against Rogue, Vitality's like, hey, Zeri was pretty busted. Let's pull out a Zeri of our own. And then they're like, hey, all of a sudden, maybe Zeri's not so busted. Maybe Zeri's not so OP. Maybe we're just not very good. And yeah, this was crazy. I mean, the final LEC standings, obviously, with them ending up 9-9. I guess, was it maybe even 9-10 after losing the tiebreaker as well? Very, very crazy. We get to this final game, Mickey versus Perkz for the last spot at Worlds. And it's just kind of funny. You see all the players who have left G2. Perkz ends up on Vitality, missing playoffs. Mickey ends up on Excel, barely squeaking in. Wunder ends up on Fnatic. He's barely squeaking in. Reckless ends up on K-Corp. Yes, he won an EU Masters title last split, but then this split, he doesn't even make it to EU Masters. And then you have G2 still atop the LEC, still coming out of the split in first place. It is kind of crazy. But yes, there are going to be tons of memes coming in. It is now officially the offseason for 4 teams in the LEC. You have Astralis, you have BDS, you have SK, and then Vitality, the kind of the most interesting team with the biggest names and the biggest decisions to make. We're definitely going to be making videos about what Vitality should do. I definitely want to make a rebuilding Vitality video where I go through all their different options for this offseason and everything. But kind of my first glance is that Perkz, at certain times during Summer Split, I think he's looked the best since he has come back to mid lane, but down the stretch, he definitely didn't carry this team to the playoffs or anything like that. He had some weird games. He had some big mistakes. He was dying a lot. He was maybe even pressing or trying too hard. I'm not exactly sure. Alphari still, the top lane king with insane CSD, insane laning stats, but not able to find the big moment ever. I think it was really strange bringing Haru in and kicking Selfmade. I know Selfmade didn't really fit in this team great, but I don't think Haru was an upgrade over Selfmade by any means. Obviously, you have Bo coming in next year, hopefully, but who are the players around Bo going to be? I know a lot of people have been really down on Labrov, really down on Carzzy. I've honestly think people have been a little bit too hard on Labrov and maybe not hard enough on Carzzy. I'm not exactly sure, but this is crazy. Like I said, they came into the weekend with a 96% chance to make the playoffs, a 4% chance to miss, and now they are going home. It is officially the offseason for Team Vitality, and it's going to be very, very interesting to see what they do. Obviously, they still have Selfmade on their roster. They still have all this talent. Who are they going to sell off? Who are they going to let go? Where are those players going to end up? And then who are they going to try and bring in? And who from their team are they going to bring back? All of these questions popping up way sooner than Vitality, or really I think any of us were wondering. Like I said, what I was watching coming into this weekend was Fnatic going to make the playoffs, or were they not? And if Fnatic made the playoffs or didn't, what were they going to do going forward? But now Fnatic is in the playoffs. They're the 5 seed, yeah, but they have a chance. You only have to finish 4th. They just have to move up 1 spot. Ultimately, it's pretty much going to come down to a Fnatic versus Misfits best of 5, where the winner's going to Worlds and the loser's going home. And Vitality's going to be watching it all from home. Super, super crazy, super interesting to see what Vitality's going to do going forward. They have some nice pieces. They have some good players. But finishing 7th, it's not even like they got 4th and barely missed Worlds or something like that. They didn't even make the playoffs. That is an absolute disaster for a super team. You have to really, think about everything that happened this year and really start breaking things down from the ground up, because to have this disastrous of a result after having a not good spring split either is really, really bad, especially for the amount of money that they're spending when you're looking at some of these other teams that aren't spending similar amounts of money and stuff. I don't know. I really think everyone at Vitality is deserves some amount of blame. I don't think there's any coach or player on Vitality that was like, oh, hey, they really played out of their minds. They really deserve to go to playoffs or Worlds or whatever. Obviously, some deserve more blame than others. But, man, crazy, crazy stuff. The LEC, this was one of the most fun endings to a regular season I can remember in quite some time, where there were so many storylines, so many big games, so many close games, back and forth moments. And at the end of the day, somebody's got to win and somebody's got to lose. Obviously, Vitality came up with the short end of the stick today. But now it's the offseason for them, and you guys know how much I love the offseason, so we're definitely going to be talking about that soon. I cannot wait, and I can't wait for both the LEC and the LCS playoffs, the playoffs, Worlds, all this, the rest of the year, the rest of 2022 is going to be so much fun, and I'm excited. But that's pretty much it for this video today, guys. Definitely drop a like if you did enjoy it. I would appreciate that so much. Leave a comment down below. Let me know what you guys think about anything we talked about in this video today, or what you think Vitality should do this offseason to maybe make the playoffs next year. Definitely subscribe, stay up to date on my latest content. Hopefully catch you guys in the next one. But until then, peace.